guys and gals? Never here from Drake Wing Gaming. It's sending me on toward the gaming drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Echo Route 65. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Righty. I see the ram visibly recoil, increasingly self-aware. He sinks back into himself, dipping his paws into his pockets. Carl is really different when he talks to me in comparison to when he's at school around others. He's all quiet and such at lunch or in between classes, but if it's just us hanging out, he can be kind of a spaz. It's because of your ancestors, right? The town founder and whatnot? Yeah. He answers abruptly, looking sidelong. I think my scolding may have upset him. You know, it's a wonder that it's such a thing around here. The sodomy and mass murder is a way of sticking around. Which one's worse? I say it in a bit more of a forced, playful tone than I intended. But Carl looks over at me, then shrugs. Depends on who you ask. I look back at the abandoned school. Something about it always gave me a weird feeling. Carl and I hadn't been inside since 4th grade, now that I think about it. We arrive outside Jasmine's house, the square stucco structure dwarfed by the 3-story school next door. I can hear some scraping noises coming from inside, like wooden dining chairs pushed across tile floor. As I walk toward the door, I see Carl stop out of the corner of my eye. Looking back, I see he's frozen in place, his green eyes flicking from the entryway to me. You know they don't like me, dude. Can you handle this? I sigh, deciding it isn't worth arguing over. He's kinda right, too, I guess. You going home? No, I'm just gonna chill out here. He leans back a bit, teetering on the edge of the road and a little bit of gravel in front of the house. You look real conspicuous, man. Thanks. Do you know what inconspicuous means? Well endowed. Jesus. I throw up my hands and make my way to the door, knocking 3 times. Carl, meanwhile, ambles off in the direction of the old school out of sight. The skidding inside stops. Then a couple seconds the door flings open outward, so I'm nearly knocked on my ass. I'm instantly greeted by the smell of stale beer and the sound of football with the volume up too high. The sight of errant plastic bags and food containers scattered around tangerine shag carpet just completes the mood, really. A stout, fat fennec fox stands before me, his eyes wide. He stares, though without meeting my gaze. It's as if he's looking right through me. Overall, Jasmine's dad looks like hell. He blinks some and refocuses somewhat, narrowing his eyes at me and dusting off his shirt. Chase? He rumbles. Hey, yeah, is Jazz home? Inside, I see a head peek from around the corner, the fur too splotchy to be Jasmine's. Jeremy. Fuck off, Chase! His voice is laden with derisive contempt. Jasmine's dad doesn't even react. It's bizarre how Jeremy never seems to get disciplined. She's in her room. Got chores she ain't done yet, so she can't go out and, play. He steps out of the way and moves back to the kitchen where a plate of convenience store nachos and cheese sits. He reaches down to grab a chip, but ends up just sticking his paw into the hot melted cheese. The old fox looks more confused than anything, his brow furrowed. 3 seconds pass before he actually grabs a chip. Meanwhile, Jeremy is still hard-eyeing me from over the couch cushion. I realize now that he's only in his underwear. Tighty-whities, too. 1 second, yeah. With that, I fast-walk my way to the end of the hall, stepping over some nasty-looking stains. I'm guessing Jasmine's mom is in the bathroom, so I give that a wide berth as well. As I'm about to turn and knock on Jazz's door, I realize it is completely open, the door taken off the hinges and resting against the wall nearby. Awkwardly, I knock on the wooden frame and clear my throat. Jazz? Chase! She states my name with a matter-of-fact tone. I take it as my all good to enter and step inside. Her room is rather cramped, adorned with an old metal framed single bed, a cedar desk, and the house's hot water heater. A stack of books and manga completely fills the space under her bed, which is some sort of makeshift book nook. Her desk is surprisingly neat, and I recognize a biology textbook from school open on top. Everything is fairly tidy, neat, and organized, but it still seems somewhat cozy. It is girly as all hell, truly, but it feels like a sanctuary in contrast to the rest of the house, even with the constant rumble of the hot water heater. Jasmine is turned away from me, sorting something in her backpack. I see her rub her face. Your, door moved? Not on its own. What do you need? Oh, wow. Looks the same. The exact same. Okay. After a sufficient amount of face rubbing, she turns to face me, a curious and expectant look in her eyes. She almost looks as if she's sizing me up, but I think it's just the way her face is. You weren't at school today, and I just wanted to check up on you and whatnot. She turns, moving to close her biology book on the desk and sliding it into her backpack. Well, that's nice of you. Her tone is abrupt, and it leaves me feeling sort of awkward and foolish. I guess. Hey, can I borrow your cell phone for a second? I hesitate. What for? Don't worry, I'm not gonna go through your text messages or browsing history, just need to message someone. I slowly pull my phone from my pocket, though I'm definitely a little wary of handing it over. That doesn't stop Jasmine from turning hastily and plucking it from my fingertips. Sly fox. She swipes through and I hear all the telltale click-clacking of the touch keys. Who are you texting? You don't worry about that, I won't worry about this recently saved images button on here. Jazz. She narrows her gaze at something, the white light from the device illuminating her features. You can have a seat if you'd like. I want to know what's going on. Like in general, or regarding you not being at school today and your door being absent? It isn't absent, Chase, it's just against the wall outside. I'm starting to actually get angry at this point. If you don't want to talk about it, then just say you don't want to talk about it. Quit trying to make me look stupid for caring. Her blue eyes flicked from the screen to me for a brief moment, then back down again. There's nothing to talk about. Nothing out of the ordinary around here, just an average day on Cloud 9. I see her mash her thumb in rapid succession against what looks like the delete button, and then she begins to type again. How are you doing, though? I feel my raised jowls go loose at the question. She looks up from my phone, resting it face down on her thigh as she awaits my answer. Her shift of concern is a little jarring, though this is what I came for, really, isn't it? As much as I would hate to admit it, her lack of domestic bliss is such a common thing at this point. It's become quite a bit of a trite topic. It's horrible here, but everybody knows that, especially Jazz. I guess she doesn't need anyone reminding her of it. I'm fine. She stares at me for a good 4 seconds before speaking. I can tell you're not. I know you have your psychotherapist to help you deal with your hallucinations and sleep paralysis, but you should feel free to talk about her or other problems in your life, especially if you're unwilling to speak to your friends about them. I've found that building up lots of negative emotions like this tends to attract more bad things. You know what I mean. The fuck are they knocking on? There's no door. I stiffen with a startle as I hear knocking on the window. Oh. Glancing over, I see 2 large pairs of horns silhouetted against the lower edge of the window pane. Jazz looks to have been clutching her legs tightly, though at seeing what I do, she relaxes as well. Carl wanted to wait outside. I understand. Yeah. I look at the carpet between my feet, then slowly rise to a stand. Leo's apparently at some party on Route 65. He didn't tell me about it. Yeah, apparently he kept it a secret from us. We're gonna go check it out. Would you like to come? I see her knead her knuckles against the comforter, her tongue pressed against her 2 front teeth. I wouldn't be able to get away for long, Chase. And for now, it's better if I stay put. She reaches down, typing a few more things into my phone before handing it back to me. I see the flash of messenger history deleted upon my screen for a split second before it goes back to the usual background. Looking down at her, I raise my eyebrows slightly. Thanks, I hope you get your door back. I will. One way or another. She nods politely and I make my exit. As I'm walking through the hall, I spy Jasmine's father still hunched over his nachos, and Jeremy, meanwhile, is still on the couch, which I am realizing is also his bed. He scowls at me as he catches me looking, the fox making a crude gesture before rolling over toward the television. I think he mutters another fuck off, but I'm not really listening. Jeremy's such a little bastard. I'm honestly surprised Carl accepted going along to this party. His social anxiety is pretty bad at school. Maybe it's just that kind of night. I walk alongside him, still milling over what Jasmine had said. Can't wait till I get my license and car. I mentioned that already, yeah? Yes. Route 65 is like 3 miles away. You can get your fetlocks toned and ready for the dance floor, though. I see Carl's posture stiffen some at the prospect, his bright green eyes looking at the asphalt beneath us. You don't actually think there's gonna be dancing, is there? Like the movies and shit? I shrug, something I've been doing a lot this night. And growing up in a town with less than 60 people has made what seems like a conventional teenage experience on TV seem utterly foreign. Closest our group of friends has had to such were birthday parties to just us 6 and our folks. Leo's dad let us drink a can of beer once. I always imagined high school parties were just a bunch of kids sitting on couches and smoking weed. But this is Echo, so... Meth? Do you think Leo would go to a party where everyone smoked meth? I didn't think Leo would go to a party and not tell us. I pause, dipping my paws into my pockets. I wonder if Leo thinks we're not cool. Carl actually turns to look at me, then quickly averts his gaze to the ground. Dude! I think that after all the shit we've been through, that wouldn't matter. A serious statement from him takes me off guard, and I feel instantly guilty for broaching that topic. I nod solemnly, another long pause drifting between us. Yeah. Carl slows to a stop, resting his paws upon his knees, his large backed form hunched over. He groans once, his breathing a bit ragged. I stop as well, moving on over to the ram's side. You alright, dude? Yeah, we've been walking forever. I could use like a bench or something. I'm sure there'll be chairs at the party. Yeah, sticky sex ones, probably. I snark. I'm sure you'll get used to the scene in no time. We're gonna show up there and it'll just be Leo alone in a gimp mask with a warehouse full of rubber ducks. Sounds like a dream I had once. He lets out a sort of a raspy laugh, pushing himself back upright again. I give his side a little rough nudge and we begin walking once more. The road here is much better maintained than most of Echo's on account of it being a state route. Still, it doesn't get much usage. I think Flynn told me once that it was part of the early highway system that was repurposed in the 90s. The interstate freeway about 30 miles to our east gets most of the traffic this road used to. If you want to get into any major city, you take the interstate. There's little reason beyond sightseeing to take the slow highway. I never really understood the appeal of people that do stuff like that, set their GPS to avoid freeways for the scenic stuff. Everything on these long highway stretches has been mostly shuttered, without a gas station for 100 miles. It's just decay, entropy, and I don't get why anyone would want to be reminded of it for fun. I mean, I live in the middle of it, so maybe that's why it doesn't seem so exotic, enticing, or southwestern gothic. Failing local economies and being trapped in the midst of them just has a way of sucking the fun out of things. Walking along now, the remnants of the bygone highway era still dot the landscape. To our right, there's an abandoned trailer park. Most of it is empty besides the crumbling to admin building and one or two remaining trailers. They're all graffitied to high hell, though. It's funny how spray-painted initials crop up on deserted structures seemingly at the same rate rust and dust take over. And Sydney and Flynn convinced me to tag an outhouse once when I was 10. The end result didn't look anywhere near as good as the bold yet indecipherable text that adorns the outer wall of the chipped 70s-era RV beside me. I ended up feeling so guilty I told my mom. I went back out to the outhouse after dark with soap and scrubbing stuff and managed to get it all off. The next day, Sydney and Flynn were confused as to where the tag went. I told them I didn't know what they were talking about. My mom thought that was funny. Alright, y'all, I'm actually gonna pause it right there. I'm tired. I'm gonna get ready for the next day, y'all. Alright, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!